Good evening, MMA fans. This is the Radulich and Broadcasting Network Alternative Commentary Series. Tonight, we are covering UFC 244, the fight for the BMF title. Baddest motherfucker, as a matter of fact, between Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz at the Mecca of all sporting arenas, Madison Square Garden. I'm your host, Mark Radulich, and joining me tonight on this journey is 411's Mania's own MMA coverage god, Robert Winfree. How do you do, sir?
You know, I was saying it about myself, but then I heard you do it, and you have a little bit of that JBL accent kind of going on, and suddenly I feel dirty.
I'll be your hype man. It's fine. I'm good with that.
Okay, Davari.
Listen, if I've got nothing else to contribute to this world, it's being somebody's Flavor Flav or Davari or hype man or whatever, however you want to put it. I'm good with that. I mean, you have to know. You have to know your limitations. Paul. Yeah, exactly. Dude, do you know how often I get my wife who tells me how much I remind her of Paul Heyman? And she always throws in the caveat, "You're not as goofy as he is," but she feels like had I had a little bit more drive and ambition and maybe some guidance, I'd have been Paul Heyman in another life. That's her assessment of me.
Potentially fair. Hey, Trump arrived.
Good. I'm glad to see our president, yours and mine, and everyone's president of the United States. You know, don't let those tweets about not my president fool you. He's all of our president, and I'm glad he's here attending this event. I actually, I recently found the snooze button on Facebook, and it started with, there was a guy on there who started in with MMA is human cockfighting, and for those of you who criticize Obama for going to basketball games, you should be criticizing Trump for going to the UFC. And I went, well, none of that's appealing to me, and I no longer want to hear from you, so snooze.
Okay. Look, there's plenty of those obnoxious, bloviating jackasses on Facebook. I'm glad there's an appropriate apparatus in place to mute them.
Yeah, it's like you don't want to unfriend them, you don't necessarily want to not follow them, but you just feel like they need to be in a virtual timeout for 30 days. Well, Facebook's got you covered. All right, so you've been covering this event from soup to nuts, this Masvidal-Diaz UFC 244.
For the record, great opening hype piece for this event that they just put on.
Okay. So tell me about the Fight Pass previews. We had Hakeem Dawodu versus Julio Arce, which was a split decision. Lyman.
Okay, hang on.
Go ahead.
Dawodu and Arce, decent fight. Dawodu's not as good as people are hyping him up to be, but he's, if I might use the Jack Slacks term, black explosive. I scored it for Arce, but 29-28 for either man is perfectly acceptable. I have no issues with that.
All right. Then we had Lyman Good versus Chance Rencountre.
Rencounter, for God's sake.
Sure.
This was a beating. Lyman Good just put his face through a windshield by the end of this fight.
Good stuff. You know, I think I was able, if I had thought about it ahead of time, I think I was able to watch because I caught the last little bit of the girls' fight, and that was on the ESPN Plus app.
That sucked.
Well, my point is, and you had initially said, why are you watching Doom Annihilation when you could be watching the UFC early prelims? And I was like, well, I don't have Fight Pass. And then you shamed me for some strange reason. But then when
you know why you deserve that.
No, not for. I don't understand why you're making a huge deal out of Fight Pass. But it looked like the early prelims were actually on the ESPN app. I should check that the next time there's a pay-per-view.
A lot of them are actually. They are simulcast to both Fight Pass and the ESPN Plus.
Well, if I had known if that's the case, then I'll make sure I do that the next time. But I did not know that was the case. So instead, I watched Doom Annihilation, which was every bit as direct-to-video as you'd think it would be. So tell us about the main event of the UFC early prelims, the catchweight, because somebody came in overweight.
And Jennifer Maia, for the second fight in a row, missed weight.
This was a unanimous decision for Caitlin Chattahoochee.
I want you to make a genuine effort on her name before I tell you how to do it.
God damn it. Chukagian.
Wow, it got it in one. Good for you.
All right. See?
This fight sucked, as do all of Caitlin Chukagian's fights. This woman is able to win fights, but if you watch her, she is in many respects everything that is like bad about women's MMA. She does a lot of key-eyeing on everything. 70% or so of her strike attempts.
Is that not a breathing technique when you do that? I mean, you're criticizing it, but I thought that's how you breathe and throw strikes.
It's meant to help you get into the pattern of breathing when you throw strikes.
Okay.
It's also profoundly unhelpful when like 70% of the strikes you throw fall about 4 inches short of the target.
And she looked like a tall drink of water. I'm surprised she's not fighting from distance a little bit better than that.
I can't possibly begin to explain how little I care about her technical deficiencies.
Okay.
This woman is she is the most successful, uninteresting fighter in women's flyweight, and boy, is that actually saying something.
Fair enough.
She should be fighting Shevchenko next. It will look more like Shevchenko versus Carmouche than Shevchenko versus I, with a lot of shadow rewatch Shevchenko versus Carmouche if you need help sleeping. It's a not good fight. But Carmouche does nothing but shadow box in front of Shevchenko, who just watches her going, "Why are you doing this?" and then hits her a couple of times.
All right.
There's a lot of that, and it'll look more like that than anything else.
Fair enough. So the prelim card that was featured on ESPN2 featured the first round finish club fighters. 3 out of the 4 fights all ended in the first round, and Rosenstruck barely broke a sweat. He also broke Andrew Arlovsky's head, but he barely broke a sweat doing it. Jesus Christ.
Look, Arlovsky's washed. He's been washed for about 5 years.
Sure.
And Rosenstruck is not washed. And, in fact, has some pretty serious powers, a solid understanding of striking technique, and caught him with the most textbook of textbook check left hooks.
It was a beautiful thing to watch, and might I add, boom heavyweights.
I mean, you can. I can't stop you.
Edmund Shabazian.
Oof.
Shabazian.
There you go, Shabazian.
Edmund Shabazian. Listen, you don't listen to this to hear correct pronunciations, folks. You know you don't. You click on this podcast because you want to see us analyze these fights, but mostly to hear me mispronounce names. So Edmund Shabazian defeated Brad Tavares with a head kick KO at 2 minutes and 27 seconds of the first round. Yikes.
Yeah, this was... I hate to say the coming out party for Shabazian, but it kind of was. He's undefeated, he's young, and I think all of his UFC fights have ended in the first... No, he had one split decision, I think. The others have, ended in the first round. His, debut, I think it was. He fought Darren Stewart to a split decision, which is pretty impressive, actually. Darren Stewart's been on a bit of a roll. This guy's the real deal. And it pains me that he's not with a better camp.
Mm-hmm.
Because he currently fights out of the Glendale Fight Club with charlatan coach Edmund Tarverdian.
Okay. Wasn't he the one that was training Ronda Rousey?
Yes. And ruined Travis Brown. And ruined,
Yeah, he's terrible, right?
Yes. And Edmund Shabazian is single-handedly changing, reversing the perception of that gym. Tarverdian had another generational talent fall into his lap.
Okay. Yeah, he seems to be lucking backwards into phenomenal talents, his coaching notwithstanding.
Yeah. But anyway, great win for Shabazian. Big step up in competition for him. And he tore through Brad Tavares like he was barely there.
Which brings us to our third round finish via TKO punches. Shane Burgos defeated Makwan Amirkhani, which was interesting. Because I thought that, and maybe I had the shorts backwards here, but I thought that first round Amirkhani was just ragdolling Burgos all over the place and didn't punch him directly in the eye.
Yeah, he landed a good shot that cut him open, and he did get some takedowns, but if you watch what Amirkhani's doing, it's a lot of muscle work rather than technique.
No, he was totally, like, just picking him, gut-wrenching him to the ground.
Yeah, and that takes a lot of energy, and Amirkhani's not exactly known for his conditioning anyway. He wore himself out, achieving minor positional advantages that led to very little of import. And Burgos is a cardio machine who proceeded to, towards the end of that round, he landed some good body shots. Then into the second and third, he just repeated that. He walked him down, he punished him to the body and head until Amirkhani said no mas by physically falling over.
Got it. And then in our main event of the ESPN2 prelim card, Corey Anderson defeated the guy with the best name in MMA, Johnny Walker, via TKO punches 2 minutes and 7 seconds into the first round. Corey Anderson beat the hell out of this guy in short order. Yeah,
Anderson landed a good overhand right and never let Johnny Walker recover. This was Anderson's first finish in a fight since 2016.
Wow.
This was his first round finish in the UFC. And he's going to make noise about fighting for the belt. It's not going to happen. If John Jones defends the light heavyweight belt next, it's going to be against Dominic Reyes.
Okay. So that brings us to our main card here, and let's look at it. Let's look at the main event real quick.
This is for the record, people, this is a stacked event from top to bottom. I mean, again, if you told me, look, Chikagian fights, yeah, they suck. This is universally true of a UFC run. And Dawodu versus Arce, there's a reason it was curtain jerking. Not because they're bad fighters, but relative to the rest of this card. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're the least interesting pairing. But the rest of this card on paper was excellent, and thus far in practice has been excellent.
So let's look at our main event. Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. Masvidal coming off an impressive, within seconds, KO win.
Officially 5 seconds.
Oof.
He knocked Ben Askren out about 3 seconds into the fight with a flying knee, and it took the referee 2 seconds to get there to stop the fight.
Yeah, Ben Askren lost math. He shot in and ran right into Jorge Masvidal's knee, and then Masvidal went on a epic rant. It was fantastic.
Why'd you put that bum in here with me? He's a bum.
Yeah, it was good stuff. But that's more or less what led us to this bad motherfucker championship of the world here.
Well, no. What actually led us to that's part of it. The other important part was Nate Diaz putting a beating on Anthony Pettis for 3 rounds earlier this year, and then saying he wanted the Masvidal fight.
Okay, fair enough. So, let's break it down. Masvidal-Diaz, go.
It's a great fight. Masvidal struggled with southpaws on occasion. Even though he's won some of the fights, he still kind of struggled as far as getting there. Diaz, great pace, great clinch fighting. Tends to overcommit on his punches. Masvidal, there's nothing Masvidal is bad at within the entirety of the spectrum of mixed martial arts.
What I remember Nate Diaz for is high volume of light punches. I mean, eventually he can put the hurt on you like he did Conor McGregor. But for the most part, what I remember about him is he kind of Frankenstein zombies towards you and throws a lot of punches, but I don't remember them having a tremendous amount of power behind them.
That's pretty accurate. Again, there's some differences if you just want to compare him and his brother Nick. Nate's a much better clinch fighter than Nick in terms of actually clinching up. Nate has better takedowns than Nick. Nate will wrestle on occasion. And Again, insane pace, but yeah, there's a lot of forward motion. There's a lot of kind of, long punches to try and get into closer proximity, and then just hoping to break you down with accuracy, volume, and just an unsustainable pace.
So, getting into the cage right now, we have Kevin Lee and Gregor Gillespie. Gregor Gillespie in the lightweight division. How do you see this one?
This is a great fight.
Okay.
Undefeated Gregor Gillespie, 13-0, former NCAA Division I champion in amateur wrestling. He's got, I think, 5 or 6 wins in the UFC. I might be overselling that. I got to double check. Yeah, he has 6 wins in the UFC. Great wrestling, great top control, solid ground and pound. On the other side, we have Kevin Lee, who was a rising lightweight contender. In fact, fought Tony Ferguson for the interim belt, and messed Tony up pretty good in the first round, but then couldn't sustain the pace, got carved up. The cardio issue has long dogged Kevin Lee, and his giant staph infection on his chest is back. Good God, New York, why are you letting this man fight with this?
Oh, is that what that is?
Look at that giant red thing on his chest. That is a staph infection.
Well, that's not good.
No, it is not. He had one basically exactly in that spot when he fought Ferguson. That is a giant oversight on the commission's part. Shame on you. Anyway, Kevin Lee, good takedowns, exceptional back taking, good ability to maintain top position, heavy ground and pound when he chooses to use it. Again, what's dogged him is cardio, and people with really solid takedown defense. Again, rising contender, just 1 and 3 in his last 4 fights. Beat Edson Barboza, but lost again to Ferguson, lost to Ali Quinta, lost and they move up to welterweight to Rafael dos Anjos. So, again, this is a really important fight for both men. This is Gillespie's big chance to show he can fight against the elite level of opposition.
If Kevin Lee wins this fight?
It just kind of gets him back on track.
Okay.
Again, you're halting a 2-fight losing streak. And again, and lightweight is just that is the most unforgiving division of the sport. Like those kind of slips are just.
I was gonna say, traditionally, I feel like the largest volume of fighters seem to be at lightweight, and it is a division of killers.
It is the most populated division numerically, and it does have one of, if not the highest level of talent in the sport.
That's currently headed up by one of the greatest in the sport, Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Yes, the Dagestani nightmare.
Oh, I just saw what you're talking about. Yikes. He shouldn't be fighting with that. That looks like if it burst on somebody, out's going to come a facehugger.
Well, xenomorphs come out of the human bodies, but yeah.
Oh, you're right. Facehuggers come out of the eggs.
That is correct. But yeah, that is a gnarly bit of staph, and he should not be allowed to fight with that.
That is gross. And I guess you can't bandage it up or anything, or throw something over it. All right, we are beginning the two exchange jabs. They circle each other. Big hook from Gillespie.
Yeah, Gillespie's got decent hands. Again, we're not talking, world-class boxer or anything, but the man can crack.
He's definitely throwing some fast fists. Tried for a takedown, got nothing. Again, these two are content to jab each other in the face for right now.
Yeah, we're going to see this. Whoever commits to the first takedown attempt really wants to be sure that they're going to get it, because getting countered and winding up under either of these guys is a near-death sentence.
Good counter from Kevin Lee. I don't know how much of that he got on Gillespie, but I saw Gillespie's hair sort of flop around after he threw those strikes.
Yeah, his haircut will also exacerbate some of that. For the record, Kevin Lee has 6 inches of reach advantage in this fight. The man has a freakish build. His wingspan is absurd.
So yeah, it looks like he's scored a couple of hits to the nose area on Gillespie.
Yeah, they're both landing jabs okay, but again, the distance management is kind of on the side of Lee thus far. Well, again, both men are landing jabs, but Lee's able to kind of find it a little bit easier because of the reach advantage he has. But it's not like, again, Gillespie is landing as well. It's just a little bit less visible. He's targeting more the eye than the nose.
Gillespie really needs to sort of bait Lee at this point and try to duck underneath, shoot. He's losing the striking battle here because of Kevin Lee's ability to fight at distance and use his reach.
Yeah, he's doing well enough. I mean, he's losing numerically, but I think if you're looking at like overall efficacy, he's actually doing quite well.
I mean, it's fine, but he's not winning the round.
He's not. I don't know. Again, I'm not sure he's losing it.
If it's the old who would you rather be, and Kevin Lee has hit him more than Gillespie's hit Lee,
and Lee is bleeding under his left eye,
and he's out.
Could not have timed that one much better.
Good God Almighty, that was nasty. So I got to see the replay again, but it looks like Kevin Lee scored with a left kick to the head, and Gillespie's lights went out. Like if you opened up his eyes right now, his eyeballs would say no sale.
Yeah, that was a much needed win for Kevin Lee. A very emphatic one as well. It's hard to overstate that one. He, again, 2-fight losing streak. He's dropped fights to some guys he arguably shouldn't have, Iaquinta, for example. And stopping a hype train in Gillespie like that.
Here's the replay
very
again.
Necessary.
We have a left from Gillespie, which left him open to the left kick from Lee, and down he went. Yeah, he tried. Gillespie tried to shift his weight and move. He tried to circle, and he circled right into Kevin Lee's roundhouse kick.
Yeah, that was some of that was also set up by, again, there's Gillespie's left that doesn't come back into proper defensive position. There's a right from Lee in that same kind of exchange that kind of gets him to move that way.
Right.
And then he just never. I think he's more concerned about Lee trying to duck in on his hips than throwing the head kick.
So Lee threw that right.
The head kick.
So you're right. Lee threw that right, and I think he started to try to circle away, and because the kick followed so quickly, he walked right into it. And you're right, and he didn't have his right hand up there to block, and so it was free reign on his face. And out he went. And then after that, I mean, that was a walk-away knockout. Those extra punches were pretty pretty unnecessary, if you ask me. But that's his life.
Hang on. If I might quote the great Jorge Masvidal, they were super necessary.
All right, so we've got Kevin Lee, who defeated Gregor Gillespie by head kick KO, the Mirko Krokop style.
Now, God, why do you not have another reference for a head kick finish apart from Mirko?
Was it left kick murder, right kick your mother? What was it? How did it go again?
Oh God, I hate you so much right now. Right leg hospital, left leg cemetery.
That's right. Round 1, 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Good job there. Next up, we've got Balls himself.
Okay, for the record, Mark and I had a much more useful conversation about that fight, but he forgot to push record.
I certainly did, Ollie. And so now anyway, we've lost all that time, so we got to move on.
Lewis and Ivanov, meh. Look, it's mediocre heavyweights. Ivanov backs up a lot, kind of looking for counters. Lewis doesn't do a whole lot and then explodes in random, useless bursts of energy. Like, hey, I'm 206. I'm, probably over 300 pounds on fight night. Let's try a jumping switch kick. Like, this is not an efficient use of your time or energy, sir.
The question on everybody's mind is, by the end of this fight, will Derek Lewis's balls be hot?
I could say something deeply unkind. I'm not going to.
So,
in all honesty, if I'm Ivanov, my first move is just to walk up and kick him in the dick. Just, you know what? This is not a joke. I think it was Jeremy Lambert mentioned this. You never get a point taken away from the first shot to the groin. So why don't more fighters just do it?
Well, you have look, what was it, the fight in Mexico a month or so ago where, that was a shot in the eye, but still, you always have the possibility of ending a fight right then and there with it, with either a shot to the eye or the dick.
Well, no, you don't go for the eye. That will probably end a fight, but no fighter is going to want to be that guy who goes, I can't compete, I can't keep going after I got kicked in the crotch.
But it's happened.
I can't think of it at the UFC level, actually.
I know it's happened. I have seen fights stop due to kicks to the groin.
I'm not saying it never happens. I'm saying I can't remember it happening in the UFC in the last 15 years. Not 10 years.
Okay. Your memory for detail is better than mine, but I swear, it's not like I've watched a tremendous amount of MMA outside the UFC.
Look, Gilbert Ivel waved off a fight after Vanderlei Silva kicked him in the crotch once. Jake Hager should have been disqualified in Bellator over the last couple of weeks ago for kneeing his opponent in the groin twice.
Well, he got away with it because he's part of the inner circle, you see.
Jake Hager sucks. Okay? He's a terrible pro wrestler and a slightly worse fighter.
Slightly. So as we were saying before, and unfortunately it didn't make air, what you see happening, I had asked you if these two were just going to throw meaty hooks at each other, and you said yes. Basically Derek Lewis...
Okay, and hang on. Derek Lewis will, twice around, throw a stupid jumping switch kick that will not land.
But for the most part, he'll just throw ham hocks, and you said Ivanov will back up into the fence, and things will happen, and Robert will die slowly inside.
Yes.
Great. I'm hoping for hot balls. That's what I'm looking forward to the most here. I hope he does like a Lex Luger, kind of just rips his shorts off kind of a thing.
He did that in the that was kind of the thing about the hot balls promo. He literally takes his fight shorts off in the cage.
But did one leg at a time or Lex Luger style?
Well, he put them back on later, but he got them off in a hurry.
Well, I want to see him rip them off, where the sides come undone, Lex Luger style.
That seems an ill-advised decision.
All right, so we see the tail of the tape here. Derek Lewis actually has the reach advantage with 79 inches to Ivanov's 73. He also has the height advantage, 6'3" to 5'11", and he is
Derek
right there at 265.
Derek Lewis is a big man.
Yes,
and I don't just mean fat. He's a big guy. He just is.
So,
Logo Ivanov is shorter and stockier and does not weigh all that much less.
How soon, because people want to know this, how soon before we have Derek Lewis in the WWE at a Saudi show?
He is never. He's not intelligible on the mic.
Well, neither was Cain Velasquez, who was also a shiny honey-baked ham for some odd reason.
Cain had history with Brock. Brock wanted his win back, so they did a worked MMA fight rather than a wrestling match.
So you who told me that fight ended the same way as the Frank Mir fight, only this time Brock gets to win it in sort of revisionist history.
That was not me, but that is a great observation.
Yeah, somebody else had pointed that out to me, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's right!" Only this time Brock got to cosplay as Frank Mir, sans the floppy haircut. And might I also say Frank Mir sucks now, unless he's in Bloodsport, then he's fine.
He's fat.
Frank Mir is fat.
He's so fat. He made Roy Nelson look like he was in moderately good shape.
I fell asleep on that fight. Here we go, round one. Hot Balls versus Ivanov. The the people's main event of this show.
No, it's not. God, stop.
Wow, Derek Lewis just ran out there. That's the fastest I've ever seen him move.
Yep, and in about 30 seconds, he's going to be huffing and puffing because of it. And he will then take 3 minutes off.
Well, the air in New York is not great. It's not his fault.
Look, if it were just New York, then maybe I'd give him a pass. I've watched this man fight.
Well, the air in the world is not great.
You can't say that about everywhere as some kind of excuse for him sucking.
So if you're wondering, like, why aren't they calling the fight? Because nothing's happening.
Remember when we said a lot of circling and sort of punching that wouldn't lead to anything? Yeah.
Derek Lewis half-heartedly threw a kick.
Told you.
as if he was depressed while doing it. Now they're gently caressing each other's hands. I mean, some might call it, trying to create...
No. I am not giving them credit for hand fighting.
So Derek Lewis threw yet another silly kick. Ivanov caught it and did one of the lamest takedowns I've ever seen. He sort of just pulled Derek Lewis onto his ass, and because apparently Derek Lewis has no takedown defense, Derek Lewis went down on his ass.
Look, Lewis is good about regaining his feet, almost freakishly so. He is exceptional at that, but he gives up his back every time he does so. It's one of the reasons I thought if he ever fought Fabricio Verdum, he'd have been smoked.
So Ivanov is currently fighting from side control, and I mean, does Derek Lewis have any sort of submission skills at all?
No. You don't even need to put really submission in front of that sentence. It's still accurate to say no.
Right. Well, Derek Lewis got back to his feet. He evaded being submitted.
No, look, again, Lewis gets up to his feet freakishly well. I don't know that as a negative.
He got up real fast. Like, my jiu-jitsu is a little rusty here, so I don't know if that was a key lock or a Kimura that Ivanov was going for. But either way, Derek Lewis sort of contorted his body, got to his
feet. It's heavyweight. It was an Americana. It's heavyweight. They tap to that crap all the time.
Well, Derek Lewis didn't. He got to his feet, immediately punched Ivanov a few times in the head. They started fighting against the cage, and I think Ivanov just tried to pull guard against the fence. I'm not giving Derek Lewis credit for that, because I feel like Ivanov pulled him down on Derek Lewis on top of him.
Let's see. So Mark, because I live in a state that no one cares about, my connection is usually a couple of seconds behind Mark's because Mark lives in a area that people do care about.
I also...
Okay, no. Lewis got a takedown. Ivanov was trying to sell out for a guillotine.
Okay. But, all right, never mind. I don't want to miss some of the heavy action we've got going on here.
There is no action.
The fast and furious movement of these two. God.
This is only slightly less watchable than the last two Fast and Furious movies.
These two and Demetrius Johnson, same speed.
Oh, God, I hate you for that.
So, what appears to be happening, and I'm going to try to be professional about this. They're fighting in the clinch. They're two bears fucking against the cage. See, this is the position you just put me in. I tried to say it nicely. I tried to say they were clinch fighting. You're pushing me into doing it my normal way.
Mark, no one comes here for your technical acumen.
Thanks, jerk. Anyway.
Look, it's not that you don't know what you're talking about. You do. That's just not the energy and the vibe you bring to this podcast. That's my shtick. Don't steal it. I don't have enough personality to get away with your stuff.
Fair enough. All right, so Fozzy and Smokey are currently humping each other against the cage. They finally break off enough to pat each other about the face with their paws.
Yeah, Ivanov attempted a judo throw, nothing doing. What do you want me to say, guys? I told you this was not going to be good.
We have 30 seconds left. Let's see how fast and furious we can get here.
They move at about the speed at which Vin Diesel delivers dialogue.
It's all about the family. God, neither guy fighting with any degree of urgency.
Have you never seen a Derek Lewis fight before? This is what he does every time. This is also what Ivanov does every time.
Yeah, all right, look, the round is over. They're walking to their corners, and they both wish they had gone into different sports.
No, they both just regret other things. Like, they're both gassed.
Sure.
You can see it in Lewis already. Like, he's going to spend 3 minutes circling and sucking wind, explode for about 20 seconds, and repeat the process.
So we're in Derek Lewis's corner, and I think what they're telling him is, hey, maybe next time you're preparing for a fight, use your cardio equipment, don't eat your cardio equipment.
For the record, I think I'm going to give Lewis that first round.
Okay.
I can see an argument for Ivanov, but Lewis actually landed some decent punches in the clinch, and the Americana submission attempt wasn't particularly close.
No, look at that elbow that he just delivered. That was rough, man. That was right to the temple. A lesser man would have gone down, but these are heavyweights. These are real men.
Well, I mean, Ivanov did get stabbed in the heart and is still here.
This is true.
That's what happens when you beat Fedor in Sambo, man.
His people will come for you.
I mean, again, you kind of saw what Ivanov wants to do. You saw what Derek Lewis
can do.
Does. Again, crappy heavyweight fight. What do you want me to say?
This is very exciting.
You're the one who said this was your division.
It is.
I have disowned this division for many, many, many years.
All right. So Ivanov just throwing, again, his left paw at Derek Lewis. He does dropping his right.
He does a lot of backing up, drop the right, throw the left to the body. That's a very predictable pattern.
Anybody, like if Stipe Miocic was in there, this fight would be over by now.
Yes. That's why Stipe is awesome.
Well, Stipe being one of the guys who, or JDS, anyone with even a moderate level of striking ability would have killed both of these guys by now.
That's not actually true. JDS and Ivanov fought. It went all 5 rounds.
Are you shitting me?
No.
How did JDS not knock this guy out? He keeps dropping his right.
He hit him a lot.
Oh, so what you're saying? I'm assuming JDS won by decision.
Unanimous.
Okay.
JDS has also fought Derek Lewis, and TKO'd him in the second or third with basically body strikes. I can't remember whether it was the second or third, but
so what we're hearing about Ivanov is that he's sort of the meat that Rocky hits. He'll just hang there and take punches.
Well,
he also. So Lewis actually knocked himself down while hitting Ivanov. That's impressive.
I was going to say, Ivanov does land punches. He's awkward. He's good about backing up and just kind of outworking you enough to win a round.
Ivanov took Derek Lewis down like 2 junior high kids dancing, and one steps on the other one's foot.
Yep. Hey, there's nothing to say you can't step on the feet. You should.
I don't know if he did or not. It just looked awkward and like 2 trees falling over. And don't get me wrong, I love heavyweight. And I love a good heavyweight fight. Hey, I got all excited for bare knuckle Bigfoot versus Gonzaga, but oof, this one takes a special kind of love to love this kind of fighting.
Okay, for the record, that was just an outside trip from a body lock by Ivanov. He didn't step on his foot.
I didn't think he did.
Yeah, it's not the most pretty of takedowns from Ivanov, but it worked.
I love the pattern with Derek Lewis, is that he nearly gets his giant arm twisted in a knot. What the fuck is that? Derek Lewis employing the Orange Cassidy method of kicking.
Yeah, look, I got nothing.
All right, so just again, so Ivanov now keeps trying to throw a lock on an arm, and Derek Lewis sort of sits there and just takes it for a little bit, and then suddenly explodes up, such as he can explode, and then waylays Ivanov with a series of punches that he just absorbs.
Well, he's also missing more than he's landing with those punches. He's landing enough. I'm not saying he's completely missing, but I mean, Ivanov is bleeding around the right eye now, and I think his left is swollen up. So Lewis is landing, but that's all the energy Lewis has for the next 90 seconds or so.
Yeah. Well, that was a great example of Lewis. Oh, Jesus Christ. Lewis looks like he's asleep on his feet. And I mean, like, knocked out. I mean, like taking a nap. So Lewis had Ivanov in a tie in a tie plum around the head, which left Ivanov open to batter him about the face. Though I have to say, Ivanov's face is looking a little worse for wear. It looks like he hit the windshield.
Yeah, again, he marks up a little bit, and it's not like Lewis has been missing everything he's throwing. He's just missing most of what he's throwing. But he's also really committed every time he gets to side control to that Americana, which, while it works on heavyweights due just to the size of the connective tissue in their shoulders, I think he'd be better served to look for a real submission hold. And again, we see Lewis punching on the clinch break, good for him, and then running out of energy and just kind of walking with his feet together and plodding. And oh man,
nice judo trip throw from Ivanov.
Again, the man's sambo credentials are perfectly legitimate. You just also kind of have to really be into the scoring criteria of sambo to appreciate them.
All right, and we leave round 2 with Ivanov having a standing front face lock on a kneeling Derek Lewis. How'd you see that second round?
Lewis. He's the one actually doing damage.
Agreed.
I mean, again, you can kind of see the ways Ivanov can win this fight. He had a bit of a 10-finger guillotine going on there at the end of that round. I don't know how close it was because I can't see the grip, obviously, but...
Well, I think he's got a distinct advantage in the grappling area. He looks like
he has an advantage in the cardio area as well.
Well, that's the thing. I think he's clearly good at absorbing striking punishment, so... so get in close, let Derek hit you a few times, grab him, throw him, and try something other than a key lock.
Well, this is clearly not a man who studied what Daniel Cormier did to Derek Lewis, because some of what Daniel Cormier did was successful because Daniel Cormier is an absolutely exceptional fighter.
Sure.
Some of it was just, hey, look at these habits Derek Lewis has. He always gives up his back when he gets to his feet. He always explodes the same way if you move to side control.
But I mean, there are other limbs here. Attack a leg.
Oh, that'd be a terrible idea.
Why?
You really want to give Derek Lewis the chance to smother that, get on top of you, and hit you?
Fair enough.
Look, again, the Americana is just not a very high percentage submission. There's other things he could be doing. He should just kind of hang out in half guard and deny Derek Lewis the method he uses to regain his feet most of the time and abuse him from there.
Make better use of his elbows. That's the other thing I would tell Ivanov to do. Get in.
Yes. That is very true.
Watching Derek Lewis fight, I'm reminded of Jim Cornette criticizing Kenny Omega and calling him jazz hands. No, he's not doing jazz hands, but he just kind of can kicks.
Yeah, that's fair.
Ivanov walking Derek Lewis down. Derek Lewis content to just walk into the cage backwards.
Yeah, Lewis puts himself on the cage a lot. It's where Mark Honda battered and abused him. It's where JDS finished him. It's where Cormier took him down repeatedly. This is a demonstrable habit he has. Volkov abused him along the cage. Like, this is a thing. I'm shocked Ivanov isn't going to the body more, especially considering Lewis is soft to the body.
He's currently fighting in the clinch and just pitter-pattering him again on the body. He gets him off the cage. He tries to throw him. Nothing doing. He's got to get more leverage if he's going to try those throws. Derek Lewis is a big dude.
Yeah. Again, that one he hit in the second round was nice, but he kind of both surprised him with it and found a really good angle to hit the throw.
Yeah. I don't understand why Ivanov is trying to throw him without getting underhooks.
Because you can. It's just really inefficient most of the time.
Well, yeah. This is supposed to be high-level MMA.
No, this is Derek Lewis and Blagoy Ivanov.
Well, they're in the UFC, which is supposed to be high-level MMA. Oh!
High-level heavyweight MMA consists of about 4 guys.
Ivanov had landed a good strike there against Lewis, and Lewis, of course, growled back at him. We have 2 minutes left in the round. Let's see what Derek Lewis can do to stave off an Ivanov attack.
It's cute that you assume Ivanov is going to attack.
Look, this is a podcast. Silence isn't good.
That's true. Look, Lewis is going to kind of coast away this round. He's going to save all of his energy for the last 40 seconds when he'll actually do something again.
Lewis keeps falling by accident.
Yes, his legs are gone. He's not in good condition for a fight. He's a giant man. Like, there's only so much I actually blame him. When you're lugging around that much mass, there's only so good your cardio is ever going to be.
He had a flurry there, such as a flurry can be in a fight like this from Derek Lewis, but didn't really get him anywhere. And now Ivanov has him against the fence, and we have less than a minute left.
Going into that last clinch, Ivanov kind of clobbered Lewis behind the ear with a right that seemed to off-balance him just a hair, but they clinched up immediately, so no taking advantage of it. I was shocked that they put this fight on the main card. You now are seeing why.
Well, look, there's been a lot of finishes, a lot of really good fights so far.
They can't all be good, I guess.
They got to go to the bathroom. People got to buy beer.
Oh, no. That is a non-starter for me as far as MMA goes. Because if you have two first-round finishes in a row, you're gonna have a 15-minute break between fights.
Sure, I get that. All right, and then we're done. I mean, the prelim card ended like 15 minutes early. I went and hung out with my wife for that time before I called you to start this. So I get it, but still, you don't know how these things are going to go, and so you gotta, it's like laying out tracks for an album. See, you gotta space things out. You gotta give people time to react and appreciate.
And yeah, you saw the Derek Lewis final 30-second flurry. Because he's just dead tired. And look at him sitting down immediately.
I think the question that we all have is, are Derek Lewis's balls hot? All right, we have our winner, and we are in fact recording.
We're recording.
Yes, I can see numbers moving now. I don't know how the hell I fucked that up before. Anyway, your winner by split decision, Derek Lewis... with 30-27,
wow.
28-29, and 29-28.
Sorry, whoa. I need a minute, man.
Yes?
No, Valentina's a redhead. Damn.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
Was not expecting that, but
So that was fun. And I really think it was a showcase for what MMA can truly be.
Shut up.
Next up, in the welterweight division, we have Steven Wonderboy Thompson.
We actually have a good fight next.
Versus Vicente Luque.
Oof.
Luque?
It was the first name. Your last name pronunciation was correct.
Vicente?
Vicente.
Vicente Luque. Yeah?
Yes, that's him.
Wonder Boy. Tell me about this fight.
This is a great fight. Vicente Luque is darn near criminally underappreciated in the UFC. He is on like a 6-fight winning streak, I think. Yeah, he's on a 6-fight winning streak. He is 10-2 overall in the UFC. His only losses were he dropped his debut to Michael Graves, went on a 4-fight winning streak, lost to Leon Edwards, himself a top contender, won 6 in a row. 4 of those are finishes. This is his big chance to really announce himself against a recognizable name. By contrast, Stephen Thompson, former 2-time title challenger, kind of has his back against the wall here. He had the 2 fights with Tyron Woodley, one of which went to a draw. Wasn't a good fight, but one fight of the night because drama at the end. Lost a majority decision in the rematch. That was one of the worst fights you'll ever see. Beat Jorge Masvidal, lost a dubious decision to Darren Till. I actually scored that fight for Thompson. And then got knocked out by Anthony Pettis in his last fight. So he is just like 1-3-1 in his last 5 fights on a 2-fight losing streak. And he's, 30-something. He's 36. If he wants to make another run, he can't afford to lose this fight.
Boy, I remember when Wonder Boy was a thing of the future.
Well, and in fairness, he did a lot of great stuff. And I actually scored his rematch with Tyron Woodley for Thompson, I think. Either that or I had another draw. That said, Tyron Woodley was pretty clearly the better fighter, but scoring criteria does not always necessarily reflect that. Such is the reality of combat sports.
So I'm checking Twitter, and I happened to see Jeremy Lambert, friend of the show, say, Derek Lewis just threw Orange Cassidy leg kicks. I let him know I made that same exact joke.
That is appreciated.
So how do you see this fight breaking down?
This is a tough one because Luque is a very talented fighter. He's good about kind of baiting you into counters. Stephen Thompson, very good about moving. I think that's going to be one of the keys to this. Luque does some of his best work if he kind of backs you towards the fence. And given that the vast majority of fighters in the UFC will back until they hit the fence, then try to circle, which is terrible. By contrast, Thompson is very aware of his presence in the cage and just does a lot to keep his back off the fence most of the time. Luque's, again, got power. Thompson is very good about movement and angles. I'm not sure who's going to win this one. I think I picked Luque officially, but these are 2 very, very talented fighters. And there was a joke made by Jack Slack that I'll repeat here because this is just about how they match up stylistically. Stephen Thompson could get knocked out here, get revived with a bucket of ice water, and still beat Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal in back-to-back fights.
So,
in fact, he has beaten Masvidal.
Scanning Twitter once again, as we are analyzing these fights, and did I miss Derek Lewis because I don't listen to the post-fight interviews. That's your thing for your coverage. But I feel like if this was said and you didn't tell me about it, we're going to have a problem. Did he say, I know he like it raw in that ass?
That is, in fact, something he said, yes.
God damn it, Robert. Why didn't you tell me this?
I'm not going to repeat that in polite company.
I know he like it raw in that ass. How is Derek Lewis just not given a belt? Can't we make him a belt and say, here's your belt?
No. We're already doing that for the main event of this card. The answer is no.
Derek Lewis needs to be the spokesperson for the UFC. He needs to go to schools and preach the word of MMA to kids on the wrestling team. He needs to go to colleges. He needs to go to junior highs. That man needs to tell everybody that Ivanov likes it raw in that ass.
Look, again, Lewis has a apparently hilarious Instagram where he can be funny in spurts like that.
I don't do Instagram because I'm not a girl. Does he have a Twitter?
Yes, but it's look, follow him if you'd like. Yeah, he does a lot of just short videos where he gets to say stupid stuff that people find funny, and I've found him funny on occasion.
Derek Lewis is my new favorite fighter.
Oh, God. Next you're going to say, Derek Lewis, please come to Bare Knuckle.
Derek Lewis, please come to Bare Knuckle.
I told you.
Bare Knuckle, make him a heavyweight title. and then put him in there with a Gabriel Gonzaga or somebody.
That's such a terrible idea.
I'm full of great ideas.
I mean, Gabriel Gonzaga and bare knuckles a terrible idea.
I'm sure they felt that way after he knocked out Bigfoot in less than a round.
Bigfoot and bare knuckles a terrible idea.
Hey, Bigfoot was the big draw for that card.
Bigfoot fighting in 2019 is a terrible idea.
Oh, you're not wrong.
Bigfoot fighting in 2018 was a terrible idea. And 17 and 16.
Joey Beltran's going to be on the next one.
I don't care.
Jesse, who apparently does not like real fighting at all, and had a
Jesse's kind of a weenie that way.
We were having a conversation about Lords of Chaos, the movie about the history of black metal, specifically Burzum and Mayhem, and he said the stabbing scenes were very difficult for him because these happened in real life, and he doesn't like people being hurt in real life, which is why he doesn't watch combat sports, which I found interesting, because I've never known anyone outside of girls to say such things. But he's entitled, and that's fine. In any case, I still, because I'm an asshole, I still tried to convince him to watch Bare Knuckle with me, and because no one else will, because you're all snobs. And
look, hold on, stop. Saying that I don't like to watch bare knuckle fighting and that makes me a snob is like saying I don't eat Taco Bell or Del Taco, therefore I am a food snob. That is utter crap. You are talking about the bottom of the barrel existence within the medium. I say no, that doesn't make me a snob.
Okay. In any case, his big question about bare knuckle was, because I said that's where washout MMA fighters go. He goes like, oh, is that where boxers go too? I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, no
legitimate boxer does bare knuckle.
I was like, oh boy, do you not understand what we're talking about here?
Plus, most legitimately talented boxers make enough money in boxing to.
Yeah, they don't have to do bare knucking at the state fairgrounds in order to pay bills. But I love it, and so without the snobs, I will continue to watch it.
And look, man, if you enjoy that kind of stuff,
I do.
Enjoy it. I am going to mock its existence. I will not necessarily mock you for liking it.
My son actually watched a few of those fights before he finally said I'd had enough and went to go hang out with his sister. But he was enjoying what he saw.
You should not expose your son to that. You want to show him combat sports, show him legitimate stuff, not bare knuckle.
Well, he has this inflatable boxing ring with inflatable gloves. And he was having a hard...
I expect you to wake him up to watch along with us when we do Canelo versus Kovalev, then.
He's still up, sure. Then he'll want to be on the podcast, by the way.
And then we'll cry when you say no.
Anyway.
That's still one of the funniest things we've ever done on the show, was you brought him and Lily on to do part of a movie review. And when you took away us speaking out of the speakers because it screwed up I gave feedback loops or whatnot, he started crying because he couldn't hear everyone.
He cries less now.
I would hope so.
In any case, he has this inflatable boxing ring that he got for his birthday last year.
Sounds like a gas.
And him and his sister were messing around in it, and they were using the inflatable gloves, and they were having a good time. And he got really frustrated with the gloves, and he couldn't keep them on his hands, so he literally threw them down and started to hit his sister with his bare hands. And I had to yell, no bare-knuckle boxing. And he had never heard the phrase bare-knuckle boxing before, and thought it was the greatest thing ever, and wanted to know more about these things.
Then you showed it to him, and he went, boy, this sucks. Your son has better taste than you.
5-year-olds and attention spans,
Oh, do I? I was like trying to herd a bunch of them at the studio's open house today, and I wanted to kill at least 3 of them.
Herding cats, eh?
I've herded cats. That's easier.
All right, we are set to go here with Vinny Barducci versus Wonderboy Thompson.
I knew you were going to do that. I knew that was the line you were going to go with.
That's what I remembered. The seats at Madison Square Garden are very small.
They were built during a time when the average life expectancy was only into the 60s, and nobody weighed more than 220 pounds.
You ain't kidding, Jack.
Nobody weighed more than 250.
If they weighed that much, they probably weren't going to Madison Square Garden.
Yep.
So what's the chances we get a spinning kick KO from Stephen Wonderboy Thompson?
Pretty slim. Both guys will throw spinning kicks, though, so we'll probably see a few of them.
Oh, perfect.
Very close fight according to the Vegas odds. Thompson only a minus 120 favorite, while Luque's comeback is minus 110.
All right, here we go. Round one. With 5 seconds in, and nobody has thrown anything spinning. There was no spinning shit to be had.
Mark, these are two people who know how to actually set up what they do. A little patience.
We are 20 seconds in, and nobody has thrown anything spinning. Lots of leg kicks, though.
If nobody's done any spinning stuff by the time we're halfway through the second round, you can complain about it. Until then, cram it.
All right, then. Lots of leg kicks, though. They're trading leg kicks. Looks like to the calf and a little bit to the thigh. Not much anything else. Mostly to the calf, it looks like.
Which is a really MMA-centric technique, those calf kicks. You don't see them a lot in other disciplines. But they are debilitating when they really start landing.
Sure.
And they're also going to set up other things. Like you throw the calf kick to hamper your opponent's movement and to set up other types of kicking attacks. To set up the fake and then see how they react to it and then maybe come over the top with punches. There's a lot of different ways to potentially utilize that technique to set things up, in addition to it just being a terrible thing to get hit with.
Speaking of which, Luque came forward with a series of punches. I'm not sure what Thompson was attempting to do there, but he came forward as well, but he kind of just walked into it.
Well, Thompson we can see already moving very well still, switching his stance, countering Luque when Luque looks to come forward and actually close distance into punching range. At kicking range, they're both kind of landing very efficiently so far, but anytime Luque really looks to close distance, Thompson is angling and countering.
So I couldn't tell if Luque landed when Wonderboy kind of backed into the fence.
He did, but it wasn't a clean land. They both landed during that exchange. Like, Thompson lands a straight left, Luque gets a bit of a right, and then they kind of reset because neither of them likes the position.
Luque caught Thompson coming in with strikes, with kicks. Wonderboy with a nice kick to the body. I'm not loving Wonderboy's hand positioning. Just bothers me.
He always fights with his hands low. There's benefits as well as detriment. There's positives and negatives.
You're gambling. It's a risk, and I get it. And I'm not saying, he's like, it's not like he's dropping them out of exhaustion. He's not Derek Lewis. But I don't particularly love the gamble.
Well, let's bitten him in the backside a couple of times. That's very obvious throughout his career.
All right, Luque is starting to deliver with force now. Jumping knee. Now they're in the clinch. Good elbow from Luque, right in the nose. Wonderboy starting to get a beating now. He is giving away this round.
Yeah, the uglier this gets, the more it favors Luque. He's not really going to win a protracted technical exchange with Stephen Thompson. He's got to make this ugly.
Wonderboy tried for a takedown there. Got him nowhere. Wonder Boy seems to be frustrated with his opponent in this fight. I think he's trying a few different things to get an advantage, and nothing is panning out.
So far, yeah.
I'll be curious to see if he starts fighting with any sort of desperation.
Well, we saw him look for a kind of a single leg takedown there, and he used that to land a punch. So he's shifting things up a little bit thus far.
Luque's trying to close in on him again. Thompson pushes him away with punches, gets himself out of the danger zone.
Yeah, this is really shaping up to be what I wanted it to be out of a fight. Luque bleeding a little bit from the left eye. It's a high-level chess match. These two guys are looking at each other, trying to find answers to the problems the other presents.
Pretty decent combination of punches and kicks from Thompson there. Didn't really back Luque off, though. He just sort of absorbed them.
Thompson's not a heavy puncher. It's one of the big... if there's a big knock on him, it's that his punches, while he lands a lot, he has good accuracy, but he doesn't have a lot of oomph to them.
And that's round one, which I'd have to handily give to Luque.
Not handily, but yes.
See, I don't think Thompson really did enough to win the round, so why not handily? I think he had a significant lead going as that round ended.
Thompson might have outstruck him numerically.
We'll have to see if we get any graphics and stats from the truck.
Well, again, Luque's also the one who's bleeding.
Yeah, but we've often said that some guys just mark up easily.
True.
It doesn't necessarily mean he got hit more.
He did get hit more. But you are correct that it doesn't always mean that. Again, Luque had good flurries, and I think if you were to just weigh who landed the, 3 best blows of the round, it's probably Luque. But it's not about scoring is not just about, hey, that was the singular best punch of the round, but boy did you eat 50 other ones. Now again, the numerical disparity is not that great. I do think there's a bit of an argument to be had for Thompson in that round, even if I don't necessarily agree with it.
Get a kick from Thompson there to the torso. Both of them snapping back pretty frequently now, willing to engage a little bit more this round to start off with. By the way, no spinning shit.
So what?
I came for spinning shit with this one. I want to see Stephen Thompson just, helicoptering around the cage.
I can't help you with that.
Good right from Luque.
Well, Thompson's starting to open up a little bit here, and that's kind of what's giving Luque opportunities to land here and there, but he's still losing. He's getting outstruck numerically, and that gap is starting to widen a bit.
We got some blood underneath the nose from Thompson.
Yeah, they're both bleeding a bit now.
I wish Luque would commit to more attacks to the head, seeing as he's, Thompson keeps just his hands at his hips.
You can, but Thompson also moves very, very well. Watch his feet the next time Luque tries to really kind of bum rush him. That's what's providing a lot of the defense for Thompson, and he is landing consistently. Counts.
Side kick from Thompson sends Luque rolling backwards, and then Thompson doesn't follow up, just lets him get back up, and they go high-fiving. And now Thompson's on the attack.
Me. Don't high five. Don't high five.
I don't understand why he didn't pursue him, but There we go. Now we got some spinning roundhouse from Thompson. Very nice. Luque is starting to take a beating now, and the scales are tipping towards Thompson in this round. I mean, I get that you don't want to overcommit on things and leave yourself open, but you knock a guy backwards like that, maybe chase him just a little bit.
He's still landing on him. Again, you saw just a minute ago before the spinning attacks, Thompson committed to a series of punches that mostly landed, and then Luque cracked him with a counter that got him to rethink the strategy. So there's a reason he's not overcommitting. Luque has power.
Well, we've seen now 2 spinning attacks from Thompson. I like it. Yeah, Luque's got some problems here. He's starting to bleed pretty good underneath that eye.
Yeah, but again, his counters are starting to work a little bit more now that Thompson is the one pressing forward.
Got a nice variety of kicks from Thompson now. He's throwing a few different styled kicks. Oof. Good left from Thompson. Really snapped that head back. Nice hook.
Yeah, you can see some of the benefit to the stance switching that Thompson does here. It's wreaking some havoc with Luque's defense at times.
Luque, I think, Luque is hurt. More hurt than I think he's trying to let Thompson believe he is. He's starting to cover up a lot. Thompson's, to a degree, is being able to hit him at will since the big kick. Like, I'm not seeing Luque as aggressive as he was before.
No, he's still a little bit out of sorts, and now Thompson has him against the fence for periods of time and is slugging him in the face repeatedly. Like, Luque's not having a good time of things right now.
I can't tell if he's heavy breathing or what he's doing there. Look, his mouth was open for a bit. Thompson's really peppering him this round. Yep, easy round for Thompson. So we are one apiece going into round 3.
Well, again, you see that in that round a little bit that Thompson is much better when he's kind of baiting you into coming forward and countering you there rather than just being an offensive machine. He's not bad there, but he does kind of leave himself open for the occasional counter. And Luque landed a few of those that got him to back off. But Thompson really starting to cook along in that round, especially as it went on.
We are going into round 3 now. We see a replay here. Boom. Kick, and that's when he went over. I think it looked like he was off balance to start with. I think he was trying to throw a kick.
Yeah, that was exceptionally well timed by Thompson. And well positioned. Just stealing a little bit of the old Shawn Michaels there.
Super kick party! No? No super kick?
No.
Speaking of super kicks, another kick from Thompson. He likes that side kick.
Especially when he's southpaw. Watch a lot when he doesn't throw the lead. He does not throw the lead side kick a lot when he's orthodox, but when he's southpaw, it's a very important part of his toolkit.
Right round from Luque, scores to the body. Thompson seems pretty unaffected by it.
Yeah, Luque's lost his counter flurries and his counter combinations and is now trying to single shot, which is not really the best idea against Thompson.
See, that side kick knocked him flat on his ass, but Thompson was content to just let him up again. Up! Thompson knocks him down. Luque is on his back. Thompson content to just stand over him and waylay him with punches. Now he's going in for the ground and pound. He doesn't want to stay on the ground with him, though. And he lets him back up again.
Luke is a danger off of his back in many respects. So Thompson's wise to score, but not really engage if there's nothing there. And hey, look, you got your Luke spinning kick too, so shut up.
I got my spinning kicks in general. I'm happy. I mean, I prefer a finish here also, but, one can't have everything. Another lead side kick, followed by a roundhouse. Roadhouse. Yeah, Stephen Thompson still moving very, very well. Very limber on his feet. Luque seems tired and frustrated. I'm sure landing on his ass a handful of times hasn't helped.
Yeah, and one of the things about Thompson's style is that he just wears you down, and then you don't know what's coming, and then he throws something that surprisingly hurts you. And Thompson just lands a lot. And that kind of volume is annoying, if nothing else. It breaks you down mentally, as we see Thompson again just check right hook, switch stance, jab, keep circling. Look at how his back is never really on the fence. He circles well before he gets to it. And Luque is all out of answers.
Yeah, he doesn't anticipate Thompson at all. Though Thompson's pretty, not herky-jerky, but he's not so easily able to predict where he's going.
No, there's a lot of variance in what Thompson does in many respects, and Luque is in a lot of ways, straightforward kind of fighter.
We have less than 2 minutes left of this fight. Again, third round seems to be going Thompson's way.
Yeah, for those unfamiliar with the devastating effects that a stick-and-move strategy can lay on your opponent, Stephen Thompson is a great example of it. He moves, plants, lands, resumes moving, never lets you really get a hold of him, never finds himself out of position in the cage. There's a lot about Stephen Thompson's game that is exceptional and should be studied.
Luque is very flat right now, where Thompson's still bouncing around. A lot of life left in Thompson. Luque, I think, is just trying to get out of this round without being knocked out.
Yeah, we've seen Thompson fight 5 hard rounds and still have a bit of that spring in his step. He is conditioned for this.
Derek Lewis should wear Stephen Thompson like a mustache. That way he has his cardio.
That wouldn't work.
Oh. You can't have cardio by osmosis?
No.
Well, I tried, Lewis. I tried.
I mean, in fairness to Derek Lewis, much as I don't like to say it, the vast majority of humanity with his size and frame has much worse cardio than he does.
Sure. I'm like half the guy's size and has less cardio, but that's hardly the issue here. All right, as we are winding down in this final round.
Oof. Thompson just happy to tee off at Luque at any given opportunity.
Spinning heel kick and drunkenly sort of slips over, and they hug it out at the end. Good sportsmanship between Wonder Boy and Luque.
Yeah, and you made fun of me for saying the first round might have been able to go Thompson's way.
All right, my guess is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson by unanimous decision 29-28. Let's see if I'm right. Okay. We have our scores. Of course, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson defeated Luque by unanimous decision 30-26, 30-26, and 29-27.
My bad. I occasionally forget when doing these live that we're under the new rules, and yeah, that third round absolutely should have been a 10-8 for Thompson. It was a one-sided shellacking for the entirety of it.
I'm actually surprised they two of the judges didn't give the first round to Luque, though. But whatever.
It was a close enough round. Again, Luque had the bigger moments, but if you looked at it just like, okay, who's winning the round consistently over the course of it?
Nope. I mean, it's not high crimes against humanity here. It is what it is. That's our second decision on the main card after a slew of finishes. So we'll see what happens next.
This is kind of what happens when you get elite level fighters. Especially, like, more consistently, they tend not to finish because they're both just really, really good.
You know what has a lot of finishes?
Don't say it.
Bare knuckle.
Sure. It's also got a lot of people, like, so does bum fights. Like, that's not a mark in its favor.
I never watch much bum fights. Maybe I should, though. I'd probably find it fun.
You would.
So Poppy, who was a YouTube sensation, who has evolved into an actual pop star, is actually putting out a pop metal fusion a la baby metal album. And she did 2 songs to open up NXT this past week.
God. Why are there still concerts in wrestling? Stop it.
Well, she did the one song, and then Io Shirai came out with her spastic jellyfish motions. And she did another song sort of singing Io Shirai to the ring. And then they did a little dance in the ring, and then Poppy got out of there. And I called my daughter over because, I figured she would enjoy Poppy. She did not. And apparently neither did Jim Cornette.
I don't know how well that speaks of your daughter that she agrees with Jim Cornette, but...
Well, it's not like she agrees with him on everything. They just, both of them not big fans of metal, I think is really the lesson here.
Of course Jim Cornette's not a fan of... Look, if you ask Cornette his opinion on metal, he'd say, sure, I like the Iron Age.
Well, that's not true. He used to... His opening theme, and it still might be, I believe he's still using Alice Cooper's No More Mr. Nice Guy on his Jim Cornette Experience podcast. However, have you heard his drive-thru theme? It's hilarious.
No, I have not.
Somebody sent in their own homemade theme for him, and it's sort of spawned a contest where they do Beat the Champ, where people will send in... this is what they've chosen as the drive-thru theme, and it's hilarious. But other people are now competing for that spot. Nobody has won yet, and they've been doing it for a few weeks now.
Yeah, let's just give every jackass with a YouTube channel a platform to...
It's worked. There's been some fun ones. One guy sent one in that I guess was like Mid-South, maybe? I don't know. Mid-Atlantic? I don't remember what Brian last said it was. Mocking or parodying, but it was the whole thing was just them saying Jim Cornette over and over again. Jim Cornette, Jim Cornette. Oh, they liked it so much that the guy redid it, but he did it as a spot for Stephen P. New. Because if you want to sue, call Stephen P. New.
I'm not sure what that is, but okay.
Stephen P. New is a lawyer who sponsors the Jim Cornette drive-thru.
Okay.
You don't listen to the drive-thru or the Experience?
No.
Ugh.
Why would I?
Because Jim Cornette is fantastic.
Look, I'd rather listen to Pat's 40-second synopsis in his Jim Cornette impression than listen to 2 hours of Jim Cornette.
Goddamn motherfucking cheeseburger. All right.
Yeah. Gonna be ROH champion. Would have been a better call than Matt Taven.
Jim Cornette?
No, Cheeseburger.
I don't know who that is.
There's a professional wrestler whose ring name is Cheeseburger.
Is he a cat?
No. He's a slight black man.
A slight black man, you say?
You know, short, skinny.
Is he anything like Willie Mack, who looks disturbingly like the Junkyard Dog?
No, Willie Mack is a chunky boy.
Yeah, he's a big, strong boy. We're just vamping here, people. We're filling time.
Look, there's a hype piece for Till versus Gastelum going on, which is fairly well done. but it's going to take up a lot of time.
Jim Cornette, Jim Cornette, Jim Cornette.
Ugh.
You should at least listen to The Experience.
No.
You should at least listen to the opening theme to The Experience. It's worth your time. It's like less than 30 seconds.
And I can't help but feel that those 30 seconds would be better spent doing something else.
It's a parody of a song, something windy. It's windy. You know that one?
You know, parodies only really work when you know the song that's being parodied.
I know the song.
I don't.
Okay. It's an old, like, folkish type song.
I'm familiar with certain aspects of folk music. I enjoy it on occasion.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever see A Mighty Wind?
No, I keep meaning to.
Oh, you really should. It's
I know.
fantastic.
I need to see that. I need to see their that same group did not an actual follow up, but kind of like a spiritual successor, and I think it's a separate piece, which is just about like toupee salesman.
I'm assuming you've seen This Is Spinal Tap.
You know what? No, actually.
You've never seen Spinal Tap?
No, can't say that I have.
Oh, goodness gracious. I saw that when I was in high school. Many, 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 many moons ago.
Oh, God. There Until coming out to just one of the worst songs.
Was it Rage Against the Machine? Because they're getting back together. And I'm broken-hearted.
He's coming out to Sweet Caroline by Neil Diamond.
Ugh, what is he, a girl in a bar?
No, it's the official song of some sports club in Liverpool where he's from.
Ugh.
So it works when he's like in parts of England when the crowd will play along with it. It's not working here in New York.
No, because the only people that listen to Sweet Caroline in New York are white girls getting drunk in a bar.
Even then, half of them would rather listen to culturally appropriated crappy rap.
Anyway, all right. So we have just enough time for you to go over the analysis here of Darren Till versus Fat Kevin Gastelum.
He's only fat in the interim right now. He's the interim fat, Kelvin Gastelum.
Oh, okay.
He's up at middleweight. He's never missed at middleweight. He had a little gaffe with the commission this time around. So given his misses at welterweight, he is now interim fat until he actually fails to make weight at middleweight. Good fight. Darren Till's a big guy, long, former welterweight title challenger. Kelvin Gastelum, former welterweight as well. Darren Till has fast hands, good power. Unfortunately, he's abandoned a lot of his kicking game, which is actually more integral to his success than his punching, in favor of punching because he likes it. Kelvin Gastelum, coming off of the fight of the year thus far for me in 2019 against Israel Adesanya, Gastelum is a forward-marching pressure machine and just a fundamental 1-2s, good wrestling if he chooses to use it. Surprising kicks on occasion. He doesn't use them often, but they are powerful. He's just really good about kind of staying in your face. He's got thudding power. He's also very, very good defensively. He slips punches quite well. If you see the sequence where he knocks out Michael Bisping, he slips a couple of punches, lands a really hard left counter, and puts Bisping to sleep.
That was not a great angle on his body, by the way. He looks okay now walking around the cage, but they did a sort of upward shot where he had his arms raised, and he looked portly.
Kelvin's a thick guy. That's actually why he can't consistently make welterweight, despite the fact that his height and the rest of his frame would lead you to think that's where he should be. He's just very, very thick through the abdomen and couldn't reliably get to welterweight, so he's now up at middleweight. And
where people cut from light heavyweight.
In fairness, he is knocking people out.
Okay.
Again, he gave Israel Adesanya more hell than anyone else, and that includes Robert Whittaker.
Wow, he is really short for this division. 5'9"?
Yes.
That's like... he should be fighting at lightweight.
No. Look at the rest of his frame. He should not be fighting at lightweight.
He's a featherweight.
That's not even remotely true.
Look at him, 5'9". Half of the guys, like at 5'8", 5'9", that's usually featherweight height.
Again, look at his actual body and tell me he has any prayer of making 155.
Well, no, he's got really thick bones.
No, bones. Everyone's bone density is essentially the same.
Nah, he's got a big frame. He's got a queen size bed frame.
Yeah, again, the man. He's a thick guy through the torso. He just is.
Yeah, no, he's a big dude. He needs to be fighting at featherweight. Too short. Life is too short.
Life is too short for him to try and cut the weight to even make Again, this guy missed weight at welterweight a couple of times.
Too Short was the name of a rapper from the 80s, though I think he's still around. And he is a small dude. Okay. Like not like smaller than Kevin Gastelum, who's too short to be fighting at middleweight.
Look, freaking McGregor's shorter than Kelvin Gastelum. Come on.
He should have been fighting at middleweight. He was the featherweight champion of the world. That's not a great example.
Yeah, he's shorter, and McGregor's fought at welterweight.
Yeah.
God, I wish they would fight. Kelvin would kill him.
I don't need to see Conor McGregor fight again, nor do I need to see him in the WWE. I need Conor McGregor to open up his own bar fighting league.
You see what happened relative to his punching that old man in the bar?
Didn't he get beat up by the old man?
No. He pled guilty on the assault charge, paid $1 million fine, and serves no jail time.
And I bet it barely dented his pocketbook.
The Irish media is pissed.
They expected justice.
They've kind of turned on Conor before this. Like, he's not been a person in good standing, so to speak.
But the American bros love Conor McGregor.
Because the American chads and dude bros think he's their king. And I would happily let him lead them all into the Atlantic Ocean.
All right, we're starting off here hot and heavy.
Both guys fast starters.
They immediately clinch up. Kevin Gastelum's delivering knees to the torso in the clinch. Right now he's content to. He's got one underhook, one arm over, and he was clasping Darren Till. He's got him up against the cage now. Still working those knees. He needs to get that other arm underneath Darren's.
Depends on what he's trying to do with the position.
No, he looks like he's trying to get that arm. Now, okay, they've broken away. Kevin circles away, and they reset. Lots of feinting going on right now.
Yeah, Till, you'll notice, does kind of the same thing that Thompson does as far as his hand position goes, with much less head movement or footwork.
And they are back in a clinch again, and they are back against the fence.
Gastelum's going to look to do this. Darren Till has historically had cardio issues. Now, some of that may be alleviated by moving up in weight, but making him work very hard and then seeing how much he can drain the gas tank is a smart strategy.
Till turns him around. Now Kevin's back is against the fence.
Yeah, Gastelum I don't think is terribly worried about a lot of positioning here, as he's much more concerned with just making Till fight at a very high pace. You see Gastelum again working knees to the thigh and body, trying to stay busy more than anything, and just kind of sap at Till's energy.
Kevin turns him around now. They are still clinching against the fence. Lots of knees being used by Kevin. So he's got that going. Kelvin, sorry. He's got that going for him.
Yeah, he's winning these clinch exchanges. Not just positionally, but in terms of damage. And Darren Till already huffing and puffing a little bit. Again, not tremendously, but this is not the kind of fight he expected.
All right. Gastelum breaks away. Till content to throw leg kicks now.
Nice to see him reincorporating the leg kicks. Again, his kicking game is an important part of his arsenal. And I really can't stress this enough. If you haven't seen Gastelum versus Adesanya from earlier this year, do it. A tremendous, tremendous fight.
Adesanya, the current welterweight champion of the UFC.
Middleweight.
That was close.
Sure. You were adjacent. You couldn't even tell me who the welterweight champion is, though, could you, without looking it up?
Well, it's not Carlos Condit.
Wow. Carlos Condit hasn't won a fight in like 3 years.
Right, it's not him. I've already.
You couldn't name me the top 5 welterweights if I put a gun to your head, could you?
Tyrone Woodley.
I think technically yes.
Oh, that's right. Adesanya and Bobby Knuckles fought for the middleweight title, and Adesanya won.
Yeah, knocked him out in the second round.
That's right. That's right. I remember now. Welterweights. Wonder Boy. Tyrone Woodley. George St. Pierre.
Nope.
Carlos Condit.
This is hilarious.
Nick Diaz.
Not even. No. Nick Diaz gained 150 pounds and hasn't even come close to fighting in like a decade.
This tells you how well this fight's going. That we're playing. Guess that.
No. The fight's fine. I just enjoy you flailing about with this stuff.
Who's the welterweight champion?
Kamaru Usman.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that dude. He's fighting next month, and he's it's like
yes, he is.
It's like him, Amanda Nunes, and
the featherweight. Hang on, no, I'll tell you the division. The featherweight champion.
Yeah, James Franco. No. Max Holloway.
There you go. James Franco weighs $125. Come on.
Max Holloway. Amanda Nunes.
Now, can you tell me who either of them is fighting?
Amanda Nunes is fighting Jermaine Durandame. Max Holloway is not fighting Jose Aldo but he's fighting on the card.
That is true.
And who'd say was the welterweight champion?
Kamaru Usman.
Right, Kamaru Usman. I have no idea who him or Max are fighting.
Yeah, that's sad. Okay, for the record. Top 5 welterweights, you have Kamaru Usman as champion, Colby Covington as, I believe, number 1 contender.
The Trump guy.
Yeah. Jorge Masvidal, who's on this freaking card.
You say that now. All right, let's pay attention here, because Till's trying to do something.
No, he's not. Okay, also for the record, Max Holloway is fighting Alexander Volkanovski.
Sure. All right, so, wow, Till is having problems with his cup.
Yep.
He keeps trying to adjust himself.
Equipment malfunctions. Not a good thing.
So they've had a few clashes in the first minute of this round. They didn't really go anywhere or accomplish anything. But they were there. Damn it, they were there.
Yeah, I'm really impressed actually with Till's mobility thus far. Gastelum's usually good about hitting people in these kind of positions, and Till has evaded him so far, for the most part. For the record, I gave Gastelum the first round, but that's an iffy call. Could go either way.
So these two have been following the same pattern now for the first round and a half.
There's a lot of circling.
A lot of circling and a lot of clinching. Oh, and we've got an eye poke. Well, at least that's different.
You know, that's our first eye poke of this entire card. Just saying. We had woos on the opening card, you degenerates. Took us until the co-main event to get an eye poke.
All right, Till opens up with a series of kicks. Till's been a lot more active this round.
Yeah, he really has picked it up this round.
Kelvin pushes Till all the way back to the fence, like the middle of the cage.
Replay confirms the eye poke.
Till is having all kinds of problems right now.
Yeah. You know, Till doesn't overcome adversity all that well.
This is an ugly fight. You told me this was going to be a good fight.
It said it was a good fight on paper, okay? That's all I have to judge.
Well, so far, it's not really delivering. I mean, Till struggling with his cup has been more interesting.
Yeah, again, the angles Till's been cutting anytime they kind of get into punching distance have really thrown off Gastelum's usual retinue of offense, and it's caused Gastelum to go to more of this clinch-heavy offense, which he clearly prepared for anyway. And Till wearing down. You can start to see it here in some of these exchanges. Till he's not Derek Lewis gassed, but he is fatiguing.
I wonder if Darren Till's balls are hot.
Almost certainly.
Maybe that's why his cup keeps moving. Too sweaty.
Mostly that's actually a byproduct of it being improperly secured, either with its whatever fashion of cup you choose to use. There's a few different styles that people will go for. Again, if it's improperly fastened, or even if it is properly fastened, some of the ties can break, and then it's just sliding around there, and that is unpleasant.
Speaking of properly fastened, I'm wearing my Matt Taven shirt today.
That has nothing to do with proper fastening. And Matt Taven is terrible.
Madison Square Taven.
That is not a thing.
In honor of Madison Square Garden. Well, the shirt actually says Madison Square Taven on it.
You are the only one who bought one of those.
That's fine.
Look, I'm glad you don't wear it in public.
I drove my kids around doing errands today with it on.
They should be ashamed of you. Well, again, Till's activity that was higher for a while has dropped considerably.
My God, if we weren't doing commentary, I'd be on Twitter during this fight. This is so boring.
Go on Twitter anyway.
All right, you were saying I cut you off there.
Till's basically given away this round with his performance over the last 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, this has not been good. I mean, and I don't mean that necessarily even from there's been a distinct lack of violence. I mean, it's just been kind of clinching and brief moments of them. I love it when Till comes out to Sweet Caroline. All right, I'm booing this person.
Again, that's only acceptable when he's fighting in England, and the crowd will play along with the gag because it's the like anthem of some soccer club. I forget which one. mean, Till had a good, 2 minutes and then kind of just gave away the other 3.
Yeah. Oh, we're back already?
No. I mean, we might be. I don't know where your feed is relative to mine.
All right, yes, we are 30 seconds into this. And, hey, and stop me if you've heard this one before, Gastelum grabs him about the waist and rushes him into the cage.
You know what? Again, we can mock Gastelum for this. It is winning him this fight from where I sit.
But this is the standing equivalent of George St. Pierre dry humping a guy for 25 minutes.
You mean one of the most successful financially and numerically fighters in the history of the sport, and arguably the best to ever do it?
Nah. He's no Derek Lewis.
No, again, he's financially successful and won a title and defended it and has millions of dollars.
Yeah, what has he done for me lately? Gastelum actually nailed Till a few seconds ago. Till seems to have shook it off pretty well.
Till's got a pretty decent chin.
Folks, I wish I could just I could talk and tell you what's going on, but there's not a whole lot. We're almost 3 minutes down left of this fight, and we're kind of in the same place we were at the start.
Yeah, these two are just kind of both fighters taking a more low output, safety first approach when fighting the other.
This is your co-main event.
Hey, weren't you the one who said of the heavyweights, well, they can't all be good, we have to give people downtime?
Oh! Gastelum, critical mistake there. Threw a kick, Till caught it, and he dumped him on his butt, at least for a moment. And
yeah, look, Darren Till is not going to play around on the ground with Gastelum at all.
Uh, 2 minutes left. This fight is enough to make you walk into the woods to live deliberately.
You know, the fact that you look at a high-level display of mixed martial arts and feel that is kind of sad to me.
They're not doing a lot with their high level here.
Some of that's true. Some of that's also what they're actually doing is kind of nullifying what the other one's trying to do.
I understand that, and I get what you're saying, but I can judge it for its aesthetic value, which it doesn't have much. I can respect the technique. I can respect that they're evenly matched apparently, but it makes it hard to make interesting to talk about.
That is true.
Oh, we got a takedown. That's new. And Till gives up his back, but he gets back to his feet. And hey, we're fighting against the cage again.
Yeah, again, not the fight a lot of people I think expected when you matched these two up on paper, but it does happen that way sometimes.
I mean, you know, it's no Houston Alexander Kimbo Slice, but
God, what a shit show that was.
It was an interesting strategy employed by Alexander Houston.
There was no strategy from either man.
Well, no. There was absolutely a strategy from Houston Alexander. He walked in a circle.
Fired a few leg kicks.
Tried not to engage with Kimbo Slice because he didn't want to get knocked out. Brilliant. And we're done. God damn. We're done. Ugh.
For the record, I have Gastelum up 30-27, but some of those were close rounds.
I have the crowd down 0.
They've been spoiled all night. They can take an L here.
All right. And
The Rock is in the building, baby. As for the results of the previous fight, Darren Till wins via split decision, and no one cares.
Yep, there were 2 30-27s, one for each fighter, and a 29-28 for Darren Till. And there was much rejoicing. No, there wasn't.
Only that it ended. And I'll defend elements of that fight, but when even I tend to have trouble kind of going, yeah, that was enjoyable. If I rewatch it, I might find some interesting stuff to kind of pick at, but other than that, nah. But The Rock is here with the BMF belt, the one of one, only one.
What does that stand for, Robert?
I'm not swearing on air like that.
It's a bad motherfucker. That's what it stands for.
You'd think they could have... whatever. Never mind.
Okay, I understand that it's like it's a gimmick title.
Yes.
It was something to lend some personality to what was already a fun fight. But did I hear tall tales, that this is actually going to be a division and the belt will be defended?
That's a load of crap.
Okay, God, I hope so.
Look, people are going to track its lineage now because that's what people in the fight game do. Like, somebody noted that it took until, like, the actual lineal lightweight title was only fully gotten together when Benson Henderson beat Nate Diaz. Because at one point I think Gomi held it. Like, again, there's people who track stuff like this. Someone will track the lineage of this particular title. But no, there's not going to be a division, not going to be anything like that. They should make a 165-pound division, but that's kind of secondary to this.
Like, how would you... There's some people saying, like, oh, this is going to be a division. Like, how do you...
It's not.
How do you do a bad motherfucking division? What weight do you put that at?
Whatever the two guys agree at.
Well, according to the Fight Ghost on Twitter, at the time of this recording, and it's currently 20 after 12 Eastern Standard Time, Canelo and Kovalev is a long way from starting. Watch this be over in 30 seconds.
God, I hope so. Like, just because that almost certainly means Masvidal wins. No, this is going to be a fight. Like, these two don't really have boring fights.
Stuck in Kiev boxing. So it's possible we may get over an hour of pointless DAZN filler clips and idle chit-chat while they wait for UFC 244 to determine who shall get the BMF title. DAZN, you are really paying off, but you're also killing me right now. And he put a picture of, like, a bunch of people asleep at desks. Perfect. Raging Babe on Twitter. Kovalev laying on the couch, about to take a damn nap.
I would.
Get up and have breakfast with Kovalev versus Canelo. I seen the bad moon rising.
And Nate Diaz about to make his way to the ring. Cage, whatever.
Ryan Garcia has stopped Romero Juno in 98 seconds. Wow. A lot of... Between last night and tonight, like the Showbox main event ended in like 30 seconds.
Hey, look, there's a Nick Diaz sighting. You can see how much weight he's put on.
I almost got you to... I almost contacted you to do coverage for that, and I was like, nope, I just want to go to bed.
I wouldn't have done it.
I had just gotten home from seeing Terminator, Dark Feminism, and
can't wait to discuss it.
Yeah, and I mean, I enjoyed it, but definitely a female-centric movie.
Not inherently a bad thing.
No, I mean, there are certain people in our chats that I'm sure are going to hate it if they ever see it, but it didn't bother me.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it yet. I will formulate an opinion afterwards. I might hate it for any number of reasons.
And then we'll do a review.
This Tuesday on Damn You Hollywood. Tune in.
Yes.
For the record, boxing goat Roberto Duran will be walking to the ring with Jorge Masvidal. Which is very cool. There's also a picture of of Duran and President Trump hugging, which is also, again, really, politics aside, that's cool. I'm not in, again, like, I don't care all that much about what you think about Trump as a president. It's just kind of a cool moment. So there's a lot of those kind of cool moments associated with this card thus far. So weird. Yeah. Again, we have this main event. We have the literal president of the United States in attendance. The Rock just walked out with the belt, and we'll be putting it on the winner. This is, when taken in full context, it's kind of surreal.
So, this being a Diaz brother fight, you think a brawl breaks out?
No.
I mean, Nate Diaz is not known for starting brawls with his fights. He's had a lot of fights in the UFC, and that's more of his brother's shtick.
I mean, look, Nate Diaz will jump in on a brawl if someone else instigates.
Right.
But, yeah, he doesn't instigate all that much, and he and Masvidal don't have a lot of bad blood. Like, they want to kill each other in the sense that they want to win the fight. But they're not talking a lot of trash about each other. They're not doing anything like that. They have acknowledged each other as, the people who should be contending for this particular title.
Yeah, also, Nate Diaz doesn't seem to have Nick's temper, ill temperament, just general.
The chip on his shoulder is different than the chip that used to be on Nick's. And again, Masvidal's a guy who will absolutely go in if he thinks it's necessary. But not the vibe I get, unless we get somebody doing something really stupid. Like, if there's a really bad stoppage, maybe. But I got a hard time seeing it.
Well, you say Nick's put on a lot of weight, so I don't see him waddling fast enough into the cage to start some shit.
He's been spending a lot of nights in the club. That's all I'm saying.
See, that's a shame, because Nick Diaz used to be all about the marathons, triathlons, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And was a, decent fighter. I'm going to piss people off by only saying decent, but I don't want to get into a discussion about the merits of either of the Diaz brothers as such.
Oh, yeah. Well, Nick Diaz especially was not one for strategy. He kind of went to the Rampage school of, come on, stand there and fight me. They're like, well, that's really not a great strategy. The object is to not get hit, not stand there and get yourself hit. And Nick Diaz really struggled with that.
Yeah, random note, but can you imagine going back in time 15 years and telling people that the biggest star in boxing would have to wait for a UFC main event to close?
I was telling my wife about that, and she was like, why are they doing that? I'm like, well, they want people, the people putting this fight on want people to actually watch it. And and that's the thing. Like, I don't know how many people who have ESPN Plus also have DAZN, but, again, I don't have the Marty McFly television. I can only watch one of these.
You don't have picture-in-picture?
Not for apps.
You don't have multiple monitors?
I'm watching on my television. I suppose if I throw up my iPad, I could watch both.
I'm watching this on my computer. I have 2 monitors.
Well, look at you, fancy.
I'm not even fancy. A 3-monitor setup is fancy.
And I don't like watching it on my computer. I have a big TV. I like watching it on that.
Fair enough.
Or laying in my bed and watching it on my phone. I go to extremes. Either have to be on my big TV in the living room or on my phone in bed.
Fair enough. I'd rather sit in my overstuffed chair and watch on my computer so I can actually, type things up at the same time as I am supposed to be doing.
I have this vision of you that you're like Kevin Smith from the 3rd or 4th Die Hard movie.
Never compare me to Kevin Smith again.
Do you know
Ever.
the reference?
Yes.
Okay. Who is this man?
And I'm not even close to that.
Say who is this man?
No.
Oh boy! All right, I think we are about to get underway here.
For the main event, yeah. Feel the anticipation. This is going to be good. I am so excited for this fight.
So where's The Rock now? I missed him walking out.
He is sitting cage side with Dana White.
Oh, okay.
I imagine if we watch the cage side area as some of the camera pans around, we'll see him.
I wonder how pre-production's going for Black Adam.
Considering he also just announced he's going to be playing Mark Kerr in a biopic coming up.
Well, he stays busy.
The Rock works, man. That man hustles.
Whether his movies do very well or not, it's hardly the issue.
Look, he gets 1 bomb, 1 decent one, and 1 blockbuster pretty much every year consistently. He's just going to keep working.
Well, I don't think they'll be doing any more spin-offs of the Fast and the Furious, that's for sure.
I hope they don't do any more Fast and the Furious after the next one. God, that is a franchise that should have died 5 years ago.
Well, they'll keep going until they stop making money.
I get why they're doing it. I'm just saying it should have died.
Look, they're talking about making a second Joker movie. I'm about done with Hollywood.
What? Yeah, hi. I've been here for a while. Would you like some of the cookies?
No, thanks. I'm trying to get back into my bathing suit body. Start already. That's the thing with doing guerrilla punk rock DIY alternative commentaries, ladies and gentlemen. We can't go to the truck. We actually have to talk through this stuff. We can't show packages. We got to vamp. We got to come up with stuff to talk about. And then when we're done with this, we still have Kovalev and Canelo.
You're the one who pitched that.
Yep. And
I have to remember that you have no, you will always do crap like that. I have to be the adult in the room and go, no.
I'm committed at this point. I don't care how tired I am.
Look, I'm not saying I'm not backing out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying I have to remember that you're always going to do stuff like that, and I have to be the one that says no.
It's good for the network.
Sure.
All right, I think we're actually ready to get underway here.
Cuban Jesus, baby. Jorge Masvidal having fun. This is going to be... Oh, I'm so looking forward to this.
Well, hopefully it doesn't end in 30 seconds then.
You know what? I would take it.
All right, here we go.
If it's a definitive end, I'll take it.
Jorge Masvidal chases after Nate Diaz. Nate Diaz says, none of that now. Oh, and he comes forward with a series of punches and kicks, backs Jorge Masvidal into the cage. Jorge is trying to circle away from Diaz. And in typical Diaz fashion, he makes a face at him.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing.
They are clinched up against the cage now. Diaz's back is against the cage.
this is an interesting spot because, again, Nate has a good clinch game. He's very diligent about kind of sneaking in elbows and knees, keeping you busy, and then, looking for trips or takedowns from there.
Some good elbows there from Masvidal. Oh, shit. So, Masvidal was laying it in on him. He threw a head kick as Nate Diaz was sort of hunched over, and Nate Diaz went down on his ass. Not enough to knock him out, apparently.
Oh, no, it takes multiple head kicks to knock out Nate Diaz.
Well, this isn't going well for Nate. They're going to end up stopping this fight if this continues. Because right now, he's sort of turtled up, and Masvidal is laying it in on him. And Nick Diaz's face is already full of blood.
Nate.
What'd I say?
Nick. Though I imagine he just spontaneously exsanguinates as well.
Shmagegi Diaz is bleeding profusely. Masvidal is looking for an opportunity here, I think, to go to the ground. Diaz is like, come at me, bro. Masvidal just punched the mat. I don't know if Masvidal really wants to get into Nate Diaz's guard. That seems like it would be a silly move.
Look, Damian Maia couldn't submit Jorge Masvidal, all things being equal, okay?
I don't believe that to be true.
They fought! He had his back for periods of time and just had nothing for him. Like, Masvidal's good at everything.
The sun was in Damian Maia's eye.
Oh, God.
Masvidal content to just stand over Diaz. Here's a thought, Diaz. He's not going to jump into your guard. Maybe get up.
If he gets up, he's going to get hit on the way up. He's got to find a safe way to do it.
Dan Miragliotta finally stands him up. Kick to the torso. Nate Diaz takes the leg. He was looking for a takedown.
Yeah, again, Nate has a pretty decent takedown game. Not because it's great in and of itself, but he tends to surprise you with it.
They're back to clinching against the fence.
Again, Nate does a lot of clinch work. It tends to be overlooked as part of his game.
Oh, now Nate Diaz is coming on strong. He's nails Masvidal a few times. They're back in the clinch again. Masvidal smiled it off, but he didn't like getting hit. I can tell. Underneath that veneer, that smile, he didn't want to get hit by Diaz.
Well, I mean, no one likes getting hit, for the most part. Not to kink shame anyone. Masvidal doing a great job thus far with elbows on the break of the clinch. That's kind of what's helping him tear up Diaz's face. And Diaz's face is more scar tissue than dermis.
Less than 30 seconds to go. Masvidal runs, skips, circles away from Diaz. Nate Diaz looks messed up.
Fairly standard. Again, his face has a lot of scar tissue. If you don't make Diaz bleed in the first round, like, you have failed miserably.
All right, that's the end of round one, which I would have to give to Jorge Masvidal.
10-8, actually, under the new rules.
Oof. Replay of that head kick. That was
gnarly. That was a nasty one, man.
All right, we are ready to start round 2 of the BMF Championship of the World.
Oh, those elbows from Masvidal on the break have been nasty.
All right, here we go. Nate Diaz rushes out. Masvidal content to just let him come to him. Lots of swinging from both guys. Masvidal. We're
going to get a lot of that.
Masvidal seems to have tripped over his own feet.
Both guys have a habit of kind of punching themselves off balance at times. Definitely something to watch.
Masvidal coming forward with a series of kicks. Oh, stop with the hand. Oh, they're just doing stuff. They're not high-fiving.
No, they're not. These two aren't going to high-five each other. Not during the fight. They'll both kind of paw with the lead hand, and it'll be open, but they're not high-fiving.
Oh, good shot. Good left from Jorge Masvidal. Stuns Diaz. He follows up with a kick, and Diaz goes to his back.
Again. But we're still not that close to him getting a finish. The body kicks from Masvidal this round have been kind of changing the tide of things a little bit. I mean, he's not, making Nate suck wind, but Diaz doesn't like him.
So all the credit in the world to Nate Diaz. He's taken a bit of a beating so far, and he keeps coming. He has survived a number of flurries.
I mean, he is a very tough individual. There's no other way to say that.
Masvidal clinches up with him again. Pushes him back into the fence.
Those body kicks from Masvidal, man. There's some. I don't know what they saw in the game plan, in the film study that led them to use those, but that is working.
Nate Diaz is getting brutalized by this guy. This is not going his way at all.
Not so far. But, again, Diaz is built for attrition. And the longer this goes, the more it kind of favors him.
So Nick Diaz is doing this, just his hands down, walking away like, I don't sweat you. And Masvidal's like, oh, well, I'll just hit you then. And so he did.
God bless you, Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, just don't let him stroll around the cage like that. All right, we get some half-ass punching from Nate Diaz in the clinch. Up. Takedown by Jorge Masvidal.
Again, Masvidal kind of good at everything.
He's got him. He's got his back. He's delivering some half-hearted punches to the side of the head.
I will be shocked if he submits Nate Diaz. I will just say that. We're looking at another 10-8 round here for Jorge. Just throwing it out there.
All right, Nate tries to roll through. Masvidal reverses. They are rolling for position. Hey! Nate tries for a leg lock.
To the shock of no one.
Masvidal spins out of it, and we're done with the second round. And Masvidal is handily winning this fight, much to Nate Diaz's chagrin. Good shot to the body from Masvidal on the replay. As we look into the corners, they are trying to stitch Nate Diaz's face back together again. Masvidal's done a really good job of breaking him up.
Yeah, Masvidal has tried to put him through like a car windshield here. Again, I've got him up to 10-8 rounds. Nate's gonna have to hope that Jorge can't maintain the pace, and he can come on later because he is getting abused.
Yeah. All right, we begin round 3. Nate Diaz looking to open up a little bit, throwing more strikes now. Masvidal, not the easiest guy to hit, apparently.
Not the easiest, no. And most of Nate's best work is done in closer proximity, so he's not the most accurate at long distances.
He just took a clean shot to the nose.
Again, those body kicks from Masvidal are nasty.
They are clinched up again against the fence.
Masvidal incredibly well schooled for this fight. He's picking up on a lot of Diaz's habits. Yep. He's clearly well drilled.
Diaz now starting to come alive here. He's hit Jorge Masvidal twice in the temple. 3 times. Masvidal comes back, backs Diaz off with a combination of strikes all on his own. Both men know that the longer this fight goes, the more problems they're going to end up having, the more likely it is they're going to lose. So they're trying at this point to end the fight before it gets into the championship rounds.
Yeah, they're going after it here. Seriously, man, those body kicks from Masvidal, ow! I mean, Nate's not a guy who's historically soft to the body, but he's also incredibly, tough to the head, so it makes sense. He might also be just setting up a head kick.
Mm. And Nick Diaz drives Jorge Masvidal into the fence. Damn it, I'm so tired. Nate Diaz drives Jorge Masvidal into the fence.
Yeah, oh man, the blood on Nate is becoming a real issue at this point. Not fight ending, but he's wiping at it a lot.
Well, if Masvidal keeps hitting him in that eye, he's going to end up closing it for him, and that might mean the end of the fight.
It might. I mean, if this were boxing, just the cut he's got might end the fight.
In an attempt to throw Masvidal, both guys went down to their knees real quick. Masvidal recovered. He has Nate Diaz against the fence still. He's got kind of a half Nelson going on him now. Nate Diaz pulls guard and drops to his back.
Interesting tactic by Diaz there. Again, he's normally happy to work in the clinch, but the fact that he's trying to get out of it is not a good sign.
Masvidal content to just ground and pound from the clinch. No, sorry, from the guard.
As he should be.
And Nate Diaz is desperately trying to make something happen for himself on the ground.
For the record, that half Nelson position Masvidal was trying to use, he's trying to set up knees with it.
This is not looking good for Diaz. Dan Mergliata is getting closer now. Looks like he's just trying to find a reason to stop this. We're out of time in the third round.
If that cut gets much worse, they will. I mean, that's becoming a problem functionally for Diaz.
I'm wondering if they're going to send the doctors to come check it out. Yep. Nope. Wait. Maybe? No.
They should probably have a look at it.
I don't disagree, but I didn't see a doctor get in there just yet. Good kick to the body from Masvidal.
Those have been a much bigger part of the narrative of this fight than I thought something like that would be. He has slammed him with those a lot. But now we get to see how Masvidal's gas tank is, because this has been a high-paced fight. And Diaz is not afraid to give up rounds and then try to come on strong over the last 5 minutes or so. I mean, Nate's never going to quit on the fight.
Okay, looks like he is being checked out by the doctor.
Good. I'm not sure it should. Again, I'm not saying it should end the fight, but he's wiped at that enough that the doctor should take note. You know?
Absolutely. Diaz pantomiming that he's still fresh as a daisy despite having his face fucked up.
He might be in terms of his conditioning.
What is happening here? They stopped the fight?
I don't know. Again, I'm a little bit behind you. Might have a foul here, so.
Because everyone just went back into the cage again. And Masvidal is making some hand gestures here.
Apparently they did. The doctor did not like that cut, and in fairness, it's swelling badly now over his eye.
They did indeed stop the fight, as they should have. Jorge Masvidal is your bad motherfucker champion of the world at the end of 3 rounds by doctor stoppage because they didn't want Nate Diaz's eye to fall the fuck out of his head. Jesus Christ, people. And I say that because the consensus on Twitter is it was a bad stoppage, to which I say, again, it's not your eye that's in danger of falling out of your damn eye socket, you assholes.
Okay, yeah, I want to do a couple of things with this. The notion that it was deeply affecting his vision, that's not the only consideration. Look at where that cut is, and again, if that cut had not gotten any larger than it was initially after the first round, I'd agree it's a bad stoppage. Look at the size of that thing. It was getting bigger. It's in a terrible spot. And, again, look at the arc of it. It's starting to split through his brow towards his eyelid. Like, again, I can see a doctor maybe letting this go, but I'm not going to complain about that stoppage.
No, there's no reason to complain about that stoppage.
I'm just not going to do that.
No, again, I don't think it's a rule that says your eye has to be completely shut to stop it. I mean, speak to this a little bit more intelligently than I can. What is the rule on stoppages in as far as cuts around the eye?
All right. Again, some of this will vary a little bit by commission. Some of this will vary by which doctor's looking at it. But there's a few things. One is position of the cut. How close is it to the eye? That's a big one. Length is typically not the biggest concern, but can be if it's huge.
Which this
Depth.
was.
I've seen fights with bigger cuts be allowed to continue than this.
But should they have?
Positioning wise, yes.
Okay.
Depth of cut is another thing. How deep is it? If it's deep, if you can see bone, like they're going to stop the fight.
Right.
I'm not saying he could see bone, but I'm not the doctor and they're looking at it. Maybe he did. I don't know. So again, positioning, it's not good. Like, that's a bad spot for a cut. And it kept getting worse. Again, in the first two rounds, it wasn't really bothering Nate's performance. In the third, you saw him start picking at it, start wiping at it. Like, okay, the blood's starting to get there. It's... Again, is this the best stoppage in the world due to a cut? Yeah, probably not. Is it the worst? Hell no. I mean, here's the other thing about this fight, guys. This wasn't especially competitive. Like,
no, I mean, look, let us for a moment assume that they were being overly super cautious. Nate Diaz still lost all 3 rounds.
I had 2 of them 10-8. Like, Masvidal smashed him.
Right. So Nate Diaz would have had to have finished that fight in order to win it. And at the rate he was going, especially with his eye bloodied up as it wasn't going to happen. I mean, Masvidal would have had to have made an egregious error for it to have happened.
Which, in all fairness, not impossible.
No. I mean, look, possible, likely, maybe, but... You know, that's just not how this works. But, all right, overall, UFC 244 was pretty good. I mean, there was only one dud.
Okay, in all seriousness, for the record, the fact that everyone immediately said, yeah, we'll run it back in Vegas, where you can buy the fight doctor. Piss on you.
Lots of funny... I will say this. Lots of funny tweets that people who are upset with the stoppage said that DAZN just wired the doctor money to stop the fight. That's funny.
A few people are also pointing out the Tyson Fury cut from his fight with Valine. And I said this at the time. They maybe could have stopped that fight. In fact, again, I'm not going to say different doctors are going to rule things differently, which kind of sucks sometimes, but such is life. Again, that cut's just in a bad spot. It's only getting worse, and the arc of the cut is bad. There's one under it. Like, if those two cuts meet... What do you think happens to his face?
Yeah. I think people, and I don't blame them for this. I think, a fight like that, they wanted to see a definitive winner. But, hey, it's not the first fight to end by doctor stoppage. It won't be the last.
Let's also be clear about this. This was not caused by a foul.
Right.
Okay, this wasn't a clash of heads and a cut opened up.
No,
and we don't have a winner.
Masvidal beat his face in.
Yeah, Masvidal took his face, pushed it into a wood chipper, and the doctor said, okay, that's enough.
Yeah.
I can live with this.
All right, so that's our coverage of UFC 244. Like I said, there's only one dud on the card. Kevin Lee Gillespie ended in a brutal head kick, which was fun to watch. Derek Lewis, Ivanov...
Hold on, stop. There were 2 duds. Stop it. You know there is.
Right. Thompson, Luque was good. Till Gastelum nearly put me to sleep, and I had to get up and eat my kid's Halloween candy to stay awake. And then I think the main event was fine. You know, if we wanted to see a violent fight, you got a violent fight. What can one say? We're gonna put a pause on this, and if you're subscribed to the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, you'll also find our coverage of Canelo versus Kovalev, which we will be heading to momentarily. So we're gonna cut plugs. Just know that if you want to hear Robert, his show is every Sunday. You can find it posted on 401mania.com. His 401 Ground and Pound radio show where he talks MMA. You can find all of his coverages at 401mania.com. So, once again, this has been the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, UFC 244 Alternative Commentary. Be well, be safe, and behave.